nobody shows up.
I know.
I'd be like, what the hell?
No, let me get the comments up on here.
Yeet.
Perfect.
We've got one watcher so far. That's you.
It's me. Yeah.
There's two. Somebody just joined us.
Oh, it's Ethically Lego. Hey, Ethically Lego. We'll get started here in a minute.
Got three.
We got three. I think we can go ahead and get started. People will come in.
Give it one more minute.
One more minute? Okay.
I'm timing it right now.
Okay. Maybe we can at least talk about some of the things we're going to go over while we're waiting for people to get in.
It's up to you. I'm good with that.
Okay. If you want to go first on some of the things we're going to go over.
Surprise people. No, I just wanted to talk about, first of all, how awesome and sexy Christian looks tonight. He does this on purpose. He
Signature
wants to-
sleeveless shirt, right?
Yeah. It's the same shirt that he's worn every time, too.
I haven't washed. No, I'm kidding. I washed it.
He's not, though. No,
I'm
just
just
kidding.
kidding.
All right. Now we're getting there. We're getting cooking. We got four, slowly but surely, are joining us. What's up, guys? So happy you are here with us tonight. We've got a lot of smack talk to do. We all know, anybody who follows me knows, I was not a fan of that last episode.
No
So-
frog lady.
No frog lady. I think that it was just, well, I'll save my reservations for a little bit later. All right. So, as you kind of are starting to get, we're going to just start with some random shit. And then we're going to, this is not kid friendly. We even made sure to check the little box. Not
Just in
kid-friendly.
case.
Yeah, originally it was, but I can't fully be myself if it's kid friendly. So this is, you have to be, I think, like 13 or 14 or older maybe. So if any of you guys are younger, you might as well get off the chat. So I wanted to start off by breaking down a little bit of the products that they just released and announced. And full disclosure, again, and I think I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it. Sometimes we're going to do other things outside of Star Wars. Like we'll bring in other content. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan, and they're obviously Disney property too. So I'll be breaking that down when there's some news, and we do have news for that. So we'll just go over that real quick. So first up with the products, I don't know. Obviously, every Monday is Mando Monday, and they have some pretty cool releases that I've seen. And they decided to drop the Black Series Mando helmet, which went
seeing a lot of
live.
posts on that. Yeah.
Yep, and I had to pre-order it, and I canceled it because I realized they didn't have any room. So that was a bummer. I mean, that was a real bummer.
But
But
joining the 501st Legion, yeah.
yeah, not yet. No.
They actually don't have the Beskar armor version of Mandalorian in the 501st group.
Oh, so they need it.
Yeah. So
Well, there was a guy at the con that I was just at, 2 months ago, and he definitely should go in the running. I mean, he had the heavy duty suit and everything. So, Baby Yoda didn't make it too. You guys saw my post earlier in the week. Baby Yoda was supposed to be joining us, but it was past his bedtime, so he didn't make it tonight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's all right. So we had that that little Mando release right there with the helmet, which looks fantastic. I still need to get my hands on the Boba Fett one, but so the last thing I need to be doing is spending money on that on that one. I need to actually play catch up if somehow I find space for it, but probably not going to happen. My wife's going to kill me. All right, and then they officially released images of the Target exclusive Star Wars Black Series Remnant Trooper figure, which I have the hot toy for this, and I think you saw it. I had it when you came over.
Mhm.
That is an awesome figure, and so rest assured, I will be getting this for myself and for my collection. It's a Target exclusive. So make sure you guys have those DPCIs ready because Target's never on time with their stuff.
Ever. I ordered PlayStation 5 stuff, and then it said it was going to come 2 weeks from now. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I see some comments here. Yak Face T's Black Series Bad Batch. Talk about the leaked Mandalorian set. Yeah, we'll talk about that. The Lego Mandalorian set. No Cobb Vanth. Yeah, we've seen too many Cobb Vanth customs from figures to Lego.
We were just talking about this. Okay, listen, guys. He's cool. I support you. If you love him, awesome. I think everybody's in love with the character simply because he was wearing the Boba Fett armor.
I mean, I liked him as a character. I thought he was gonna be annoying.
I thought he was good. I thought the guy playing him was good. But I think that what made him special, if we're being honest, is the Boba Fett armor. It's the first time we've seen it.
That was like the attractor, like what drew you to him and interest. You know, if he wasn't wearing that, I feel like maybe the appeal wouldn't be as much. But
exactly. So the Remnant Trooper, the Star Wars Black Series, is street dated for 11/29. So make sure you guys go on Target.com. If you scroll to the bottom and you look at the product features, you can find the DPCI. If you're interested in adding that to your collection, you're probably going to want to get there early that day. I know I will be, because those are going to sell out fast. Pre-orders went up, and I'm pretty sure they already sold out.
probably like everything else today. PlayStation 5. And the website probably went down with bots, right?
Exactly.
Like everything else.
Everybody, all the collectors know exactly what goes on with all that. So, also those Ahsoka lightsabers that they just released, the Galaxy's Edge, they sold out. They sold out fast. I'm a part of a couple of Disney pass holder groups, and you would not believe the backlash people were giving Disney. Like, why didn't you have enough stock? This was supposed to be my kid's Christmas present.
Same thing with the PlayStation 5. It's like, oh, we know that this was coming for a while. Why didn't you make more? I mean, I guess COVID and capacity.
Yeah, but you can only run with that excuse for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was awesome to see that. I mean, I think we all knew that this was going to go fast, but maybe not this fast. So I'm going to be going December 5th. I'm hoping this guy can join me. I will be doing a live stream. Either here on YouTube or on our Instagram page when I'm there. Live that day, and I'll be doing more of like a post review of kind of what went on, anything new that I noticed from Galaxy's Edge. So be sure to have that marked on your calendar if you're interested in tuning in. Hopefully this guy will be able to join me. But I'm hoping they'll be restocked by then, because I really, really want to get those, like really bad, just like everybody else. So outside of Star Wars news, really quick, Marvel Studios officially called it quits on 2020. As you know, we were supposed to have, I believe, 2 movies, Black Widow, and then we were also supposed to have The Eternals coming out this month, but both got pushed back because of COVID. And we were also supposed to have Falcon and Winter Soldier streaming on Disney Plus and WandaVision. So all those got pushed back, and I am a huge MCU fan. So the wait has been killing me, especially after Endgame. I just really wanted to see how they moved into Phase 4, but that didn't happen. So they pushed it all back to 2021. But today, I believe I think it was today, they officially announced a release date for WandaVision, which is going to be January 15th, 2021. So right before the presidential inauguration of, we think it's Joe Biden, but we're not positive yet. So once that's set in stone, it'll be 5 days before the inauguration, I guess. So you have that to look forward to. Also, too, back to Star Wars, there's a rumored Boba Fett series.
Yeah, there is. So I'll talk a little about that if you want to throw something in there. So there's a rumor on the street that that we're done with Boba Fett, or that we're very rarely going to see Boba Fett in the rest of season 2. I imagine this is where you're going with it. And the rumor is that Boba Fett's going to get his own spin-off series on Disney Plus prior to season 3. So maybe he'll turn into a big bad in season 3 if that rumor is true. The only thing I don't like, as much as I love Boba Fett, the only thing I don't like about that, and then I'm going to mention one bit of Lego Mandalorian news real quick. The only thing I don't like about that is we already have, I mean, I love Obi-Wan, but like, we already have a Mandalorian. We already have Obi-Wan. We have this Cassian Andor, who, no offense to Rogue One, I don't know if anyone asked for that, but we have Cassian Andor series. So we already have 3. And then, like, I hear that there's others that are rumored or floating out there. So how much is it going to be before it's like saturation? And then it's like, okay, it starts turning into a big cloud. So one thing I do want to mention, for you Lego fans, we are seeing some of the comments. The Lego Mandalorian set just got leaked of him in his Beskar armor. So prior to this set, unless one happens to come out and be released sooner, which I don't think is going to happen, prior to this set, all the Mandalorian Lego minifigures were of him in like his old arm, like pre-Beskar armor with like the tattered armor. Even the one that came with the Razor crest. So it looks really nice from what we can see. It's blurry images. There's several images out there supposedly that show what the minifigure looks like. They could be fake. I would take it with a grain of salt for now. One of the big, I guess, minor debates I see going on is whether or not the arms are printed. Because, I mean, you look at these minifigures, most of the time they have plain arms, but occasionally you will have, I don't know if I have any here, in this case there's some customs, but you will have some figures that do have printed arms. So the whole debate is he going to have printed arms, or how detailed is he going to be? Because there have been a bunch of customs out there for Beskar Mandalorian, so skeptical is going to top it, but how good is it going to be compared to some of the customs that have been out for a while? Let's see, I'm pumped for Lego Best.
By the way, since you brought Legos and Boba Fett into this, I'm just gonna say, if you're in this chat right now and you bought my Lego Boba Fett, I'm gonna bounty hunt you down. Your ass is grass.
Wait, what happened? Oh,
the person that bought my Boba Fett.
I don't think they're here.
I'm just kidding.
Let's see. So going back to Marvel, I see them talking about Miles Morales Spider-Man. Yeah, that just came out. So if you are a Marvel fan or even a gaming fan, that is out. Just got released today.
Which, by the way, I'm just finishing Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, the movie?
On Netflix. Yeah.
I
mean, I've heard, so far I love it. I really didn't know much about Miles Morales, so that's kind of why I didn't really pay attention to the game that just got released and some of the figures, but so far so good. It looks pretty cool.
So we got a question before we go into episode 2 recap. What Lego Boba Fett from Tyler? What Lego Boba Fett is Cody talking about? It was one that was like, it was custom done. The body was like 3D sculpted, and it had the dent in the helmet.
The paint apps were ridiculous for a Lego figure.
Yeah.
I'm not a Lego collector, but it was pretty dang insane.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome. I think, I don't know, it was probably pretty hard to see because I know that the camera's a little bit far, but I think I showed you guys last week if you were able to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody apparently bought it for like $50 and it was cracked. And so, I mean, as cool as it was, I don't know if I was gonna try to match that. I have Black Series on that, which I can't. So
he might commission me anyway. So
I think I might. This guy's he knows what he's doing. So with that being said, let's move into the next topic, and that's going to be Chapter 10 of The Mandalorian. All I can say is, what the hell? What was that? What after that big tease? What is going on? What did you think? And I did want to say too, I did want to address this. I am 100% with you. I really, really, as much as I'd love to see a Boba Fett series, I don't know if I'm all for it with all the other work they got going. So
it's just like a pollution. Like, integrate the story instead of making a bunch of side shoot. I'm worried about saturation. Like, I'll be honest, this is probably gonna make a bunch of people upset. You already know this. I'm more of a DC person than a Marvel person. That being said, anytime a new Marvel or DC movie comes out, I'm game. I go see it. But it's gotten to the point now. DC has been more lax on the releases. I mean, they both have with COVID. But it's gotten to the point now where I feel like Marvel's starting to get a little bit saturated. So for me, I'm personally losing interest. Now, it's great some people like yourself are not, but as far as capturing the market and retain people's attention, my concern is that they saturate the Star Wars universe and keep pumping stuff.
We might have to save the DC versus Marvel debate for another show because he just pulled a trigger on me that I am in stark disagreement.
I'm worried about saturation, but you can say what you want of the Marvel. I'm worried about saturation. We see a lot pumping out, and I'm worried that the attention span is not going to be there if they keep convoluting it, because there's a point of where it no longer becomes for the general audience, and it becomes too specific. Like, okay, what if they start pulling stuff from the book? Like, the thing that made Marvel great is the way that the movies were done. You didn't have to be a comic book junkie to enjoy them. I'm worried that, we already saw this a little bit in episode 9. Palpatine survives, and they tell us cloning, and that's it. I know more, and you know more because we've heard about the books and the lore, and some of the ways that the Sith can cheat death and all that. So, I mean, to us that fills in the gaps, but to a general movie goer, a general observer, I'm worried that they're gonna lose focus and make it too convoluted.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm worried that they're gonna lose the attention of the average,
the average moviegoer.
The average
Exactly.
moviegoer.
So, what did you think about Chapter 10? Sorry to go off topic a little bit.
Okay, so Frog Person didn't annoy me as much as you did.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of funny, but like was the episode my favorite? No, I watched it, but like Frog Person, I think Frog Lady, I thought was funny, but I don't want it to turn into 3 more episodes like season 7 of the Clone Wars with Trace and Rafa, with them like getting caught, breaking out, getting caught, breaking out. Like I don't want it to turn into something like that could have been done in 1 episode. So I think the Case of the Frog, they're gonna drop her off and be done, and whatever that is. My suspicion is the house gonna tie in is on the planet that the husband of this frog lady lives on, is going to be some other main character that we're going to be introduced to. We're going to see Ahsoka, Sabine, other Mandalorians. There's some piece of the puzzle that plot armor. They're going to arrive at this planet, and there's going to be something in there that's relevant to the story. And the Frog Lady arc was just to bridge the gap as to why is he going to this planet. That's what I think is going to happen.
That's absolutely what they were doing. But the main reason they brought the Frog Lady in this, and I can tell you what it is, it's so that they can make a Black Series figure. They can make merchandise.
Yeah.
I see now you have Cobb Vanth and you have the Frog Lady.
I was sitting there with Brianna. First appearance of the Frog Lady. I'm like, Lego figure. Like Lego's gonna watch this and be like,
we gotta make it. Yeah. Yep. Now you're gonna see a bunch of shirts with Baby Yoda eating the eggs and memes. I mean,
there's already a Pop figure. I don't know if you saw. There's a Pop figure of like Baby Yoda eating the eggs. It's a merchandise tool.
Totally, because they're gonna milk this. It's Disney. They're gonna milk this as much as they can. Even Star Wars before it was technically Disney, they did the same thing. Look at Boba Fett. We wouldn't even have Boba Fett unless people really blew his look out of proportions. Like they were so enamored with his look and how cool he looked, that they had to make more for him.
So someone said that they think that he's gonna find Sabine on this planet that he's going.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement with you. I definitely think they're gonna find Sabine.
I think she's most likely first because I feel like
she's gonna be with Ahsoka.
Okay, I was gonna disagree with that. I was gonna say. My only opinion is, okay, either with Ahsoka or before Ahsoka. Because at least in my eyes, nothing against Sabine, but I feel like the big thing everyone's waiting for is like Ahsoka or Luke, or I know it's not likely, but Rex or something like that.
Yeah.
So nothing against Sabine, but I think I am skeptical that they would give us like all these super major characters up front before they give us, I don't want to insult her by calling her a B-lister, but before I feel like killing the hype if they give us Ahsoka before they give us Sabine. Versus if they give us Sabine, it's like a tease, like, oh, we know who's coming in later episodes. So I feel like just from a marketing standpoint of the series and capturing the attention of people, they want to keep watching it. They're going to build that hype by introducing Sabine, who you could make the argument is less looked forward to than Ahsoka. My opinion, maybe people like Sabine more. That's just my thoughts.
I think you hit it on the head for the most part. I do think that they'll be together. I think Sabine and Ahsoka, whether it's next episode or the episode after, I think they will be together because when we left them last time we saw them in any kind of show or series outside of Clone Wars, which is technically a prequel. In the timeline, we saw at the very end of Rebels, we saw Ahsoka shows up to Sabine and they go off to look for Ezra. So I think very well they could be together. I think it's very likely, but I got to tell you, as far as this last episode goes, it was nothing more than a filler to me. Anybody who follows my page, Cody's Collectibles, you probably saw my story earlier in the week. Actually, would have been, I guess, last Friday or Saturday. I was not a fan. I did watch it for a second time, and I liked it a little bit better. But I just think it was a huge letdown after they teased Boba Fett at the end of the first episode. And yeah, I mean, it just was nothing more than a filler to me. I mean, I think I was right when I said last week that they were going to slow the pace down a little bit to build an arc of some sort. But you know, I wasn't right at all about. First of all, I was not right about the name, so my source is fired.
The confrontation is with the spiders.
Yeah, the confrontation, but apparently they don't call it that. Maybe it'll be a future episode, the name of a future episode. It could be episode 3. I don't know. But it wasn't this one, so you know that was pretty off, and the whole thing was just kind of to me. Frog Lady creeped me out, honestly. The only thing that really made the episode, if I'm being honest, was the giant spider chase at the end. Added some action and some more intensity to it, and then
God, if you were afraid of spiders, that was gonna make
totally. Thankfully, I'm not, but yeah, especially when that
gross.
giant one, like he like takes his eyes, he's like looking. The ship thing is nasty.
I know.
That's what my woman looks like in the morning when I wake her up. She wears this. Good thing she doesn't watch this, but
you know.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think the only thing that made the episode for me was the spiders, and it was Baby Yoda eating the eggs. Everybody's like mortified for that. I thought it was cute. I thought it was actually pretty funny because I just couldn't take the Frog Lady's character seriously, and I hope that they drop her off. I really do.
And she goes on with her life, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it wouldn't actually make me sad for some reason if she like died or something happened to her. I don't know why.
I know. I was thinking that the entire time.
Because all she's doing is trying to meet up with her husband, and she's got all the eggs with her. Like that would be sad, but I don't know. Like I have this weird emotional connection, like where I don't like the character, but yet if she were to die or just go away that easy, I'd be like, well,
There's
I don't
a
know,
meme
maybe
going-
she'll grow on me.
Have you seen the meme? It's like they did it as like an Uber review of her, and it was like driver almost got arrested. Driver's pet kept trying to eat my eggs or something like that. There's like a fake like meme style like of an Uber review of this Frog Lady giving a review. So there's a few analysis points that you remind me of. I want to bring up. Going back to episode 1. If you rewatch it or you remember this, when they were going over the hill to where the dragon's cave was, right? All the Sand People and the Mandalorian, like they were all on the Banthas, remember? And all the Banthas were traveling in a line. If you think back to episode 4, first Star Wars movie, Obi-Wan says that Sand People always travel in the line to hide their numbers. So that was something that kept consistent decades later in this episode. If you notice, the entire season 2, episode 1, when they're traveling long distance, they're all in a single file line. Exactly. So that's something I noticed. The other thing too is you all may remember that I said if Boba Fett did become a main character, I feel like they might change his personality or give him more depth. Maybe give him an anti-hero vibe or something like that. Remember I said maybe they'll skew our perspectives of everything we've come to know to have the characters keep it interesting.
There's something that's supposed to be shocking that happens. This I don't know if it's the death of the character or if it's like, something like that. Everything's gonna change somehow. I don't know. Maybe the dynamic will.
Well, so I wanted to bring that up because even though we haven't seen a lot of Boba Fett, hopefully we see more. Maybe we don't.
Yeah.
But what was interesting to me is the pilots this last episode, because I found them uncharacteristic of the of how you would think of the rebels, right? So you always, when you watch the original movies, you think of them as very noble and they're very professional. I mean, it sounds weird because they're professionally shooting people while they're in their X-wings, but they're very formal in how they're speaking and stuff, and they're professional and courteous to one another. But we kind of see another side of them here where they're a little bit snarky. That's a little bit of a different personality. Now, they did come help the Mandalorian. They were just chasing him to turn the transponder on. They weren't like shooting at him or anything like that. And you maybe would have gotten to that point. But the point is we got them painted and their personalities painted in a little bit of a different picture. So I think, while it's not Boba Fett, it's interesting because I do think that opens the door for them giving characters different personalities than we originally stereotype them to be based on what we've seen. So that's something I noticed. And the only other point I wanted to, 2 points I want to bring up. The helmet of one of the X-Wing pilots has, I believe it was the Wolfpack logo, like the clone troopers. If you look, it has a wolf on the helmet, and I think the symbol was either the same or almost the same. So go back and look at that. And then we talk about Baby Yoda, obviously cute, being annoying, kind of dark, eating these eggs. But But I wonder if, long shot here, I don't think it's likely. I'm going to throw it out there. I wonder if it's supposed to give us cues onto the species of Yoda, like more information about them. I mean, we saw Yoda in episode 5 trying to eat I think it was like Luke's candy bar or something like that in episode 5. But we really don't see characters eat too much other than like blue milk, right? So
he ate the spider too.
Yeah, he ate the spider. So I'm wondering if, yes, it's cute or maybe it's annoying, but I wonder if it's supposed to provide any additional background info on, the Yoda species as opposed to, the diet is kind of weird, but maybe they're going to give us piece by piece as to knowing more about the Yoda species. Just a thought I had. I don't think it's likely, but I just want to throw it out there in case it ends up being right. This looks like a question for you. Thoughts on newly released Sideshow the Child?
Yes. Well, I want to come back to that afterward because I'm going to lose my train of thought. We'll address questions after we've gone through most of the stuff. So I think touching up on your point about the Rebels, that was definitely a different side of it. By the way, if you guys didn't catch it, one of them was Dave Filoni. One of the
catch that.
Yeah, one of the Rebel pilots was Dave Filoni. So that was kind of cool, and he actually cameoed in season 1. So that was cool that he did that again.
Season 1.
I think he was a pilot.
Okay.
I'd like to say he was a pilot as well. When they that episode where he meets up with like old friends in the guild.
Oh yeah,
ex-guild members. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he was one of the Rebel pilots that shot down that base. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I think that was really cool. It kind of gives you a new form too. It's a time period that really they haven't explored the franchise yet, which is what happens before the rise of the First Order and after the Empire fell, which right now in Star Wars canon, to me personally, is the most interesting timeline because we don't have much content there.
The only thing we have is, other than a few novels out there, is Battlefront 2. That's the only media interpretation, and even then, I mean,
it skips a very long timeline,
and it can always be decanonized. We've seen that before, where stuff gets decanonized. I mean, this won't happen, but whatever the filmmakers decide, they can suddenly decanonize. They could decanonize the Clone Wars series decades from now if they want to go back and redo something.
Well, that would be stupid.
It would, but the point is whatever they want to do, they can just snap their fingers, Thanos reference, and make it disappear. So, as far as canon timeline goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, it's definitely interesting to see what they're going to do here with this timeline, and it's cool to see how this government, the New Republic's formed, how it shows a little bit more of an aggressive side because they have to try to root out anybody that was, remnant of the old Empire. So,
and how does the First Order give rise? Like, okay, they blew up the Death Star. It seems like we left off with them having a good handle on things, and now suddenly it's like, fast forward to The Force Awakens, and they're oppressed again.
Yeah. So I mean, what are your final thoughts going into this next episode?
Predictions. Someone said predictions earlier. I'm gonna go by the same thing that I said earlier. Yes, it was a filler episode, but this whole arc was strictly a purpose to get the Mandalorian to a different planet, and that's it. He went to Tatooine. The plot device was defined. Mandalorian found Boba Fett armor. We get reintroduced to Boba Fett, kind of like we see a snapshot of him at the end. But this whole arc to me is just an excuse to get Mandalorian to another planet where he's going to meet either a new character that's going to be integral to the story, or it's going to be we haven't seen Cara Dune or any of the other main characters from season 1 either. So it could be one of them, but I think it's just a plot device. So I think we're going to see him meeting a main character or reuniting with them. And again, I think he's still going to be looking for Mandalorians. He's been looking for Mandalorians for 3 episodes. It's going to be 3 episodes now. And, we're a third of the way done through the season. Sabine is a Mandalorian. He's probably going to find her first. So then the next step afterwards, he's going to say,
where Ahsoka is.
well, yeah, he's going to be like, well, here's the Baby Yoda thing, right? And then he's going to be like, I was told that the other Mandalorians know about the Jedi and the Force. And then she's going to be like, well, it's funny you say that, Ahsoka. And, that's what I see happening.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, too, given what Giancarlo Esposito said about, I addressed this last week about there being more action with Moff Gideon whenever he shows up. I really don't know who else he'd be dueling with other than somebody like Ahsoka. So my guess is,
unless it was the Mandalorian, he's the only other one I see is if he has some sort of saber or sword.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe they might, but I'm right with you. I think this is the episode where he's going to run into Sabine and possibly Ahsoka, and they're going to join him for the rest of the season. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
They couldn't even do a tease similar to Boba Fett where we meet Sabine and at the very end of the episode there's like a ship that lands and then
I hope not.
It'll be like the what's it called, the flap will go down and then the bridge will go down and then you'll see legs.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I see them doing that. For Ahsoka, I feel like they're gonna tease her again and then we're still not gonna see her. It's gonna be like Boba Fett.
I really hope too that we see more Boba Fett in this season, even if they give him a spinoff. They can't just tease us like that.
Because he has to. He has to get the armor back.
Maybe that's why they gave us Cobb Vanth so he could wear the armor just to give fans its satisfaction. I mean, it's very possible that that's it. I think if we see him again, it'll be either midway through or at the very end. Of the
I think
series.
he has to get the armor back.
Yes.
Before that.
I'm still sticking with my prediction that Moff Gideon hires Boba Fett to go after Din Djarin the Child. I am, from what I have seen, as predictable as some of it's been, as unpredictable as we've got from the only first 2 episodes. I'm going to stick with my prediction. Moff Gideon is going to hire Boba Fett to go hunt them down. I'm telling you. I'm going to, you heard it here first. If I am wrong,
he's wrong.
If I'm wrong, then I will eat all those words up when this season ends and when we're finally doing a recap of the whole season.
Remember this.
Just remember this. But yeah, I mean,
at very minimum,
I feel very
he has to get his armor back because I don't see them just not showing him again, doing this Boba Fett spinoff, and then him starting out without his armor because then he's going to have to get it from the Mandalorian along the way. The only way it's going to happen if he does not cross paths with the Mandalorian this season is if the Mandalorian loses the Boba Fett armor somewhere along the way. Jawas get it or some creature gets it and then Boba Fett finds it. That's the only way I see Boba Fett getting his armor back without him coming back into the season. Other than that, I think he's going to come back at least once, get his armor, maybe dip at the very minimum, if he doesn't do that. But he has to have his armor back, I think. Otherwise, he's not Boba Fett,
And let me address to my prediction that I just reiterated to everybody. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen this season. So even if it doesn't happen this season, I think it will happen somewhere down the line.
Season 3, maybe.
Yeah. So regardless, you guys know we'll have to watch it. I'd love to. I'm sure you guys have already chimed in, but if you haven't, chime in, share some of your thoughts. And so now we're going to move into kind of the last topic before we start taking questions. This is what I tasked you guys with last week, and I said, so we have The Mandalorian, we got season 7 of Clone Wars, so we're happy, but we're definitely not satisfied. So outside of The Mandalorian and some of the spin-offs we've heard of, where do you see Star Wars going in the next 5 to 10 years, say? I mean, what are they going to do? Because obviously the sequel trilogy was very controversial and very polarizing for the fan base. So what are they going to do to try to make amends besides The Mandalorian? Because as great as it is, they still need more.
So I'd like to. So I see some comments on here. Someone said Old Republic. I do think that's a possibility.
I do. I think that one's gonna be a possibility.
Everyone's like, I've seen posts like Keanu Reeves as, he's already John Wick. Keanu
Brie
Reeves
Larson supposedly wants a role.
Yeah. So I see that happening. Now I'd like to talk about it from a business aspect, right? There's, obviously this isn't a business lecture, but there's certain things that are, you see released on the market, products, services that are just cash grabs. Get in, make your cash of this novelty, and get out, right? There's other things that stay around for the long haul. So Star Wars being one of them. So the question then is, your market and your market demographic is always changing. So how do you not only retain but grow that market? So I'll give you an example. Now I see people coming, retcon of the Skywalker trilogy. Say what you will about the Skywalker trilogy, but when I went to see The Force Awakens, let me speak on my experience. I went to see it in Ohio with my family. Mm-hmm. There was me there. There was my dad there, right? So because he remember seeing Empire Strikes Back in the theaters, and then there was also my dad's dad there. So just in looking at The Force Awakens, we saw that span 3 generations.
Yep.
So say what you will, but they did well in the box office overall for The Force Awakens, and some did better than others. The point is they still didn't completely flop. So I think for as far as where Star Wars go, it has to be able to retain its base, right, or grow its base. So we saw spanning 3 generations. So how are we going to be able to keep that going? So what I see that being is coming in the form of the Mandalorian. So what do I mean by that? We see how divisive, the sequel trilogy was, and then some people like Solo, some people didn't. Rogue One mostly got positive, but the point is it was all mixed. The Mandalorian seemed to unite most people.
That's fresh content.
And what that is too is a recalibration. It's like taking a test. You go in for a test, you have a certain way of studying for it, you do well, you're going to keep doing the test the same way in the future. You're going to keep studying for the test the same way. As soon as you do bad, you're going to recalibrate or change your approach. And the same thing with business, and it's the same thing with branding. So as far as the Mandalorian goes and where Star Wars go from here, I think we're going to see more of these Disney Plus shows, like this Boba Fett spinoff that's rumored, following a Mandalorian style format, and they're going to keep doing that until they get some sort of calibration measure back that says, okay, this is no longer receptive anymore. We got to recalibrate and change our approach. That's what I see happening. Is the whole, if it's fixed, don't break it. So that's what I see happening. Them using the audience as a calibration metric for figuring out where they need to go. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Old Republic is coming up next. I do think we've had enough of the sequels. It'd be kind of something to be originally trilogy, prequels, then we leap forward into sequels, and then we can leap all the way backwards. So that would be definitely interesting. But I think the Old Republic would be something fresh enough that they can have their own creative take on it, similar to The Mandalorian. But at the same time, we may see Yoda, or we may see, depending on the timeline and how they do it, we may see references to the prequel and original trilogy. That way it's still loosely tied in the arc, but they still have a bunch of creative licensing to run free and give us something satisfactory similar to The Mandalorian. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, they've made it pretty clear they want to do stuff on the Old Republic. There is 3 more Star Wars films that they've already announced that should come out in the next 2 to 4 years. I see it being probably Old Republic. They said, they were very specific too, Lucasfilm was, when they said they wanted to go away from the Skywalker saga. But every Skywalker is dead. So just because they said that doesn't mean they can't make sequels to the Skywalker trilogy without them being Skywalkers. Because let's be honest, Rey can give herself whatever last name she wants. She's not a Skywalker. I think down the line, by the way, they will bring Rey back with whatever.
Oh, Rey and Finn, they're going to redo the same thing 30 years from now, similar to original trilogy, and bring them back. I see that happen.
I would love to see more Rey, because we all know that I love Daisy Ridley, and I think she's so good looking. But
well, here's the thing: is you see John saying, "Oh, I don't want to play Finn anymore." Blah blah blah. You see all these things happening. Harrison Ford was the same way. They wave enough dollars in front of their face, they're going to come back. That's the way it is. Now, there is one thing I wanted to touch on about the Rey Skywalker thing that someone brought up to me, and I thought was a good point about her taking the last name. Did I initially think it was kind of dumb? I mean, she was like an adult woman taking the last name of Luke or whatever. I thought it was strange. But the positive thing, too, is you have to think about everyone that's watching it. So think about those that are adopted and not necessarily blood family with someone. So I do like it in the sense that you sort of have a role model in a sense. I mean, you don't find out to the end, but you do have a role model in the sense that, am I a blood relative of this person? No, but I still choose to be part of their family and take their name. So I did like that. I do think that might be a positive role model in there. Just wanted to throw it out there. A little bit of a different take, but if you want to look at the positives, I do see that being a positive.
Yeah. No, I hear where you're coming from. I think that, in my opinion, if you've looked at where Disney is now, where they've taken the franchise, a lot of their focus has been obviously the sequel trilogy, trying to give us some fresh content. Whether they succeeded at that is up to the fan base, and that's where the divisiveness comes in. But they focused on these timelines, these different timelines within canon, to give us more content. And now we're having spin-off shows. I really see them using the time period that I had said earlier, where Mando's taking place, to make the majority of their content outside of the Old Republic movies, which are almost set in stone at this point. I think those would be good. I think they'll be good. I don't know much about the Old Republic. I'm sure we'll see maybe like Darth Revan and some of those older, Sith Lords. But I think
we'll see Yoda.
We could see a younger Yoda. That would be cool.
Yoda in his prime.
Yeah. Well, I just think there's so much storytelling, like we're seeing with Mandalorian, that you could come up with in between the fall of the Empire and the rise of the First Order. I mean, including going back and maybe not making sequels, but making like a young Luke Skywalker, like his look in Return of the Jedi, kind of like how they did at the end of Rise of Skywalker, when the flashback of him and Leia dueling on Endor. I could very well see them even doing like more shows or any like books, anything that kind of deals with that timeline and what Luke does after Return of the Jedi.
All we know, I've said this before, but
right, Battlefront 2 is the only thing we really know. Like, that's the only content we get after that.
Yeah, he looks for these relics.
Right.
And we really don't know much else other than he's collecting all these relics, doesn't want the remnants of the Empire to find them, and that's it. Oh, and Han Solo has a beard. If you play Battlefront 2, you know what I'm talking about. It looks kind of weird. But the point is like you said, we don't really know other than he collects these things, and who knows what he's doing for 20 years before Kylo Ren burns the school down.
Yeah, I think they're going to chill out on sequels for a very long time. I mean, I don't see them going back to look at sequels as an option for probably another 15 to 20 years, maybe. I'll go as far as to say that. We're going to get prequels, or, I guess they would all be considered prequels. The content's all going to be prequels. They have to be very careful with where they go, given what happened with the fan base. I mean, if you want to kill a perfectly good franchise, you divide the fan base. And I mean, you just have to be careful.
It's also an instant gratification issue. I mean, I have my opinions on what I would have done differently in the Skywalker trilogy. Not everything is going to be just the way you envision it going.
No, and Empire Strikes Back, people don't know this.
It was initially
Empire Strikes Back when it first came out. it had horrible ratings.
Mhm.
And now it's considered the most successful Star Wars film out of the whole entire series. So, I mean, fans are never going to truly be happy. When these other
They'll
films
appreciate
come out,
it years later.
Rise of Skywalker, I have already seen within just a year's time, I've already seen the narrative sort of flip a little bit. I mean, given where people were just a year ago on it, it was so divided, so mixed. I've seen more people be a little bit more like, it's not as bad as I thought it was, or, you know, it was pretty good. Or you're like me, where it's like, it's great from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that there's also, just as a culture, you know, at least in America, we also have an instant gratification culture now. You know, you want something, you order it at your fingertips. You know, you have the world in your palm in the form of a phone, and it's great sometimes. But you also get used to instant gratification, getting what you want.
Very
and
true.
so when something doesn't go your way, you know, we're spoiled really. So when something doesn't go your way, it doesn't go how you predicted it plot wise. You know, you might want to gouge your eyes out a little bit because you think they're doing it all wrong. So I definitely think that's a culture thing. You know, ultimately, I agree with you. I think years from now, we're going to appreciate the sequel trilogy more. Not saying I wouldn't have done things
Besides The
different.
Last Jedi.
Yeah, I would have done things way differently, to be honest.
Last Jedi didn't grow at all on me.
It did for me a little bit. It did for me. I like Luke at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Cray was cool.
Cray was cool, but my point is I think overall they're going to grow. The trilogy's going to grow favorably decades from now. You know, and I'd be curious 200 years from now, right? When, you know, Star Wars has been around for ages, is it really going to exist? Because things come and go, right? Superheroes have been around for a while. I think Batman and Superman have been around since like the 30s or something like that. So the point is I wonder, longevity purposes, how long is this going to go on? Like 200 years from now, are they still going to be making Star Wars movies? Or like what's going to happen?
Listen, normally I'd say probably not that long. But now that Disney owns it, I could absolutely see it going 200 years. Mickey Mouse he just celebrated his 90th anniversary, like what, 2018?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty crazy for one cartoon character. That's only gotten more popular as it goes on. So the fact that now the Mouse House is what they call it, owns Star Wars and Marvel, I don't see it going away anytime soon. I think you have to start with firing Kathleen Kennedy. I think you need to get rid of her. I really do. I mean, I don't think that's a very unpopular. I mean, even people that did really like the sequel trilogy for the most part, like me, they want to see her gone. I just don't think she's doing much good for the franchise. I think Jon Favreau is what saved her from being abysmal with The Mandalorian. So I think you got to get rid of her. I think Dave Filoni needs to take her spot because nobody understands Star Wars, you know, other than George Lucas, better than Dave Filoni does. He needs to be at the head for the foreseeable future. I mean, I could see it going, believe it or not, as far as 200 years. I know that's like quite a bold statement, but yeah, I mean, only unless we have another pandemic, which I guess every 100 years we are. Because Disney just had their earnings call today, and they suffered their first fourth quarter loss in 40 years, I believe it was. That was really sad to see. They lost $2.4 billion or somewhere like in that area.
And you have to think it's not just the United States either.
Right. Well, that's nationwide. Right.
It's not just Florida. We have California. We have Tokyo. They're Disney all over.
Right. So. Right, exactly. And so, like, if you have more pandemics that shut it down, I mean, a company like Disney right now, Apple could actually buy Disney with how weak they've gotten over this virus. Mm-hmm. So the only way I see is like any kind of like Disney characters or Star Wars like going away in such a long span of time would be if something like this happened again and then another company were to buy them or something, which would just ruin life.
I'm just talking about retirement.
So disappointing.
Maybe they'll retire it.
They could
retire it and say we're done. But
then what do you do with the parks? Are you talking about like Star Wars or Disney in general?
I'm talking about Star Wars. Like here's the interesting thing is films are not that old, right? When you think about films, 1900s, right? Films are not that old. So and you know, even though older films are getting harder to find, right? Nowadays everything's digital. So it's going to be a strange time when 200 years from now, people are going to be able to go back and look at films that were done 200 years prior. You know, we can't look back 200 years ago and say, hey, this video is from the 1800s or this movie's from the 1800, and sit down and watch it. For them, they're going to be able to watch stuff that centuries ago.
Yeah, well, and that's different. New content, no, I don't see it going that. As far as the lasting legacy of Star Wars, I could see it going 200 years. Not new content. I do think at some point they will retire it. I say in the next 40 to 50 years they'll retire Star Wars, and then it will have a lasting impact even after that. Because think about it, like you look at Mickey Mouse in the 50s, really like that was his kind of his peak before like they stopped making cartoons of him, and then they decided to go back and think of like
Mouse Clubhouse and all
that. Well, anywhere from like the 80s where they did like Christmas specials, and then as time went on, they started bringing him back to like, you know, Disney Junior for my daughter and all that. Like, that could be another thing. They quit and then they bring it back. Who knows? It's just like an extra thing they have in their back pocket. So, so maybe we'll.
Are there any questions? Yeah, there were some questions. So,
so the first question that I wanted to address, the Sideshow Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I love that thing. I love it so much. It looks amazing. I haven't seen it in person. It looks fantastic. But I'm waiting for Hot Toys to release theirs, because the only difference is that the Hot Toys one is posable, and I got to be able to pose my Baby Yoda
I always love
in my
Hot Toys
display.
Hot Toys is superior. You still need to bring bring yours over.
Yes, I do, and I will bring one over for the live stream. I was thinking of bringing over my new Han, which the portrait on that is just fantastic. Sideshow has pulled out all the stock for this Baby Yoda. It is as good. A lot of people actually say it's better than the initial images of the Hot Toys version. But I can't have my Baby Yoda on the shelf and not be able to display him using the Force.
I can't justify spending hundreds of dollars on a statue.
Yeah.
Unless the statue's life size, then yeah, like gigantic.
Yeah.
But for a figure or something, like I want it to be posable.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't do it with the statue. That's just, I say that now. Maybe like I'll see it in person and I'll have to. Maybe if I'm really feeling ambitious and I have the money in my back pocket, maybe I'll just do both. But I doubt it. I highly doubt it. There's too much that I love to collect to be able to drop money on both. So I'm waiting for the Hot Toys version to come out.
And yeah, Figs and Bids, I realized I've already said, I know the Baby Yoda's life size. I don't know. For me, still, like, when I mean life size, I mean like a giant stormtrooper or something like that. For me, like, it better be posable. Like, if it's something that large, then you can get away with it. But for something that's like, I don't know how big it is, this big, say, you know, I'm gonna want it to be posable, because there's not much else you can do with it.
With the statue, yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, like, there's some really cool statues, but I'm kind of there with you the more I think about it. Like, I have to have it, like, and I also have to have it where it's durable, because God forbid it were to fall off my shelf or something, my daughter were to knock it down. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just spend like $300 or $400 and then it breaks. Yeah. And I've got to think that because the Sideshow version isn't posable, it's going to be a little bit more fragile. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that one.
All right, let's see what other questions we got. Let's see, let's go to the beginning. The Mandalorian set, we talked about that.
I would love to see, has anybody said anything about their predictions about, you know, Star Wars moving forward? That was really the big kind of topic that we wanted to address today.
Yeah, so if anyone in the comments has any guesses either on their predictions for the next episode or where they see Star Wars as a whole going, we'd love to discuss them with you, you know, read them out loud. In the meantime, I'll go through some comments here. There's one that says, today's generation is going to love the sequel trilogy just like my generation loves the prequels. I think that's very true.
Yeah, well, my daughter's our age. I think she'll love them.
She's gonna dress up as Rey probably at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah, my wife loves Rey, so, and of course I do. She's really good looking.
And we got another one. I hope we get a High Republic series of films.
High Republic?
High Republic. So
I don't even know what that's considered. Like, what is that just, I don't know, is it the same as Old Republic, or is it?
I don't. Hold on. I think Disney Plus is really the future of Star Wars after the backlash from recent films. Yeah, figs and bids. I've heard that. I think this person said I think Disney Plus is the future of Star Wars. Yeah,
That's for sure.
it is.
They've already said they're going to focus on Disney Plus most.
For me though, I love Disney Plus, but for me though, it kills it because say what you want, it's expensive, but I like
Going to the
movie theater.
Yeah,
there's
something to be said about
lights
that.
off, surround sound, using the Force, seeing rocks and things being thrown around, the lightsaber.
I love the
crackling.
show ideas. I just hope that they don't get too carried away and start streaming it. Like the movies, any kind of prequels or sequels they do.
Figs and Bricks said High Republic is in between Old Republic and prequel films. Yeah, I guess it's a question. Another question is, if they do the Old Republic and they do 3 films, how are they going to do it? Like, are they going to go way, way, way back and do
Ancient
and do it? And then we have a huge gap between that trilogy and Episode 1, and then they're eventually going to fill that in? Or are they going to just go back, 3 movies worth before Episode 1, or maybe like give us enough context to just show, like maybe end it with like Yoda being a child or something like that. Like,
could be.
Like, that's my question is, if they do this, how close, is it going to be bumping up against Episode 1, or are we going to be talking centuries of difference? So I'd be interested to see their take, because we have to think about is, oh yeah, Figs and Bricks, sorry about that. What you have to think about is, how are they going to go for it in the future? If they don't want to lock down their options too early, and seal off, not put enough time in between all the movies to not be able to squeeze something else in, like we have Rogue One, and so they got back in there. So I think High Republic, here we go, it's about 200 years before the Phantom Menace. Yeah, so I said it's possible. Yoda was 900 years old when he died in Return of the Jedi, so he could very well be
Yoda in his prime.
Yoda in his prime, or even a kid, if we're talking, if it's the end of the Old Republic. But here's what you have to think about is the whole decanonization thing. They could suddenly say the High Republic and the Old Republic is the same thing, or something like that. They could suddenly, or maybe keep them the same, but adjust the timeline. Yeah. Maybe the High Republic was only 50 years before, Episode 1. I mean, that's what I talk about creativity. They can always decanonize something. They can make something up on the fly and say, hey, this is what it is. Right?
I just don't know how my Black Series shelf is going to fit the more content they make. I don't know how I'm going to be able to fit all these damn figures. Because, I'm going to have most of them. They're just so cool. They do such a good job, Hasbro. But,
so we got a comment. High Republic is about 200 years before the Phantom Menace. Yeah. Yoda is a young stud in the High Republic. Yeah, we'll have to see if he has hair.
Yeah. He doesn't have like the Bernie Sanders look.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Yaddle in the background she had like this long brown hair. It looks like a little weird
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Wookiee Jedis. That would be interesting. Wookiee Jedi.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, there's an Ewok Jedi too, right?
No, I actually didn't.
Yeah, there's an Ewok Jedi. You said you did or didn't?
I didn't.
Yeah, if you search Ewok Jedi,
oh my god,
there's like a Wikipedia page or something like that, and it's like unidentified Ewok Jedi, and it's
oh my god,
I think it's wearing like a black hood or something like that, and has a lightsaber and it's like jumping. But
I already hear. All I hear is they're getting too carried away with some of this canon.
Yeah.
Come on, an Ewok Jedi. Good lord.
So I guess my last question to you and any of the viewers out there is tying it. We talked a little about Yoda. Do you think, number one, we're going to get a name for the child, and number two, either in this season or in a season of The Mandalorian, we are either going to get the name of the Yoda species or a reference to Yoda, saying Ahsoka saying, "Hey, that thing is the same species as Yoda."
Yeah, I forget that Ahsoka knew Yoda. I totally forget about that.
And Ahsoka technically would know Boba, kind of like she's familiar with the clone. So that was
she fought with Bo-Katan too.
Yeah,
so she's very familiar with the Mandalorians in general, and then now Sabine too. Like,
yeah, but point is like she already had experience with the clones. Boba Fett is technically a clone, so that's an interesting dynamic there if that does happen. But yeah, that's what makes Ahsoka an interesting plot tool is because she spanned a bunch, basically almost two of the trilogies and leaching into the third.
And I never really thought of all this. Like, it would only make sense to have Ahsoka be in this series. The more that you bring these points up, and the more that you guys are pointing stuff out, like she really would have kind of a perspective that nobody in the series could really have because she's known them all. So
do you think we're going to get the name of the child or the Yoda species or anything else?
I think we'll get him. Yeah, we'll get the name at some point. It's going to be weird because we've gotten so used to calling them either the child or Baby Yoda. It's going to be weird to actually call him by a name. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think we'll get a name for the child. I don't think we're going to get a species name. I know supposedly it was going to get revealed in last season. Didn't happen. I think they're going to, I don't know if honor is the right word. I think they're going to value the original, mystic aspect of Yoda that George Lucas gave him, about him being unique. We see Yaddle in the background. I think that we're not going to know anything else. I don't think we're going to know his species name. We might learn it. We saw, okay, the Yoda species or the child eats eggs, but I think as far as the species name, what planet they come from, I don't think we're going to know. I think they're going to honor the original, mystic aura that they gave the original Yoda.
Pretty good stuff. So this will be my cliffhanger for you guys. I left you a cliffhanger last week. This is our cliffhanger for next week's episode. Is the child related to Yoda and Yaddle? Is he the child of Yoda and Yaddle? Or is he just the same species? I really think that this is an interesting one we need to explore.
Because then that would make Yoda an entire hypocrite about not having attachments, and then come to find out.
Well, we don't know.
Well, he did.
There are a lot of creative things that they can do, and he went into exile, and maybe he made a baby with somebody and decided that was how they were going to carry on the gene pool of strong Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know, because they did say Ki-Adi-Mundi, I think, was allowed to reproduce because the species was dying out. So I don't know.
We'll save it. We're gonna save it for next week. I don't know how much time we'll spend on that, but we're definitely going to address it because it needs to be addressed.
So we got a question for you, Cody. If you could pick any character to become a Black Series who they haven't made yet, who would you pick? Oh, and for Christian, the same thing, the Lego figure.
Oh, that's a great question.
Cobb.
Oh, yeah, Cobb, man. No, an interesting one. Okay, I know who. It's between two. It's between either Bib Fortuna or Max Rebo.
Oh, but we have Lego figures of them.
Yeah, you have Lego figures, but we don't have Black Series.
Why do they have Lego figures, but they don't have
I don't know. I have no freaking... You know what? Because Legos have been popular for a long time. Black Series, they're more like... they've just become more of an established figure line over the past 5-6 years, maybe, since Disney acquired Star Wars. So I'd say out of those two, I'd say Bib Fortuna. I think it would look awesome, especially if you have the Jabba the Hutt, the Black Series that they released with him. I used to have it, but I sold it. It took a lot of space up on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Bib Fortuna next to even like the Gamorrean Guard would be awesome. So I'm gonna go with Bib Fortuna.
So for Lego, there's some obvious ones. I mean, I imagine Black Series is the same way when, okay, they have a first run, they have a second run, there's some changes. It's iterative. Like, obviously, the Stormtroopers of today don't look like the same Stormtroopers from, a decade ago. So as far as Lego goes. So for the answer with Lego, number one, I would say a new Commander Cody and Captain Rex that match the new clone style that I showed you a few weeks ago. Those are obvious, give me ones, nothing too special there. There's two in particular that have always bothered me that we never got. Number one, we have Bail Organa, but he is not in his bluish gray uniform that he wears for most of Revenge of the Sith. That always bothered me. It's like his grayish or his greenish uniform. So I always wanted the one that he wore the majority of the time Revenge of the Sith. I mean, even then, we just now got a Bail figure. So I would like that. I would also like, this is kind of weird, but my number one Lego figure that they have not made, which to me is an insult, is Shmi Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
How do you have the entire arc about, Anakin being, conceived without a human father by his mother Shmi, who ultimately, raised him and then eventually kind of, along with Qui-Gon Jinn, set him down the path that would launch the rest of the storyline. We don't have a figure of her.
Yeah.
That always drives me nuts. And then on the last one is similar note. We have Uncle Owen Lego figure who came with the UCF, the collector's edition Sandcrawler, but we don't have the aunt. We don't have Aunt Beru. How do we have the uncle and not the aunt? Would have been an extra 50 cents for Lego to throw it in there. We don't have the Lars family homestead. But yeah, if I could only pick one of these characters, I would say Shmi Skywalker, because when you think about the whole entire plot, she was really a trigger mechanism, especially in Episode 2, her death. That was a trigger mechanism. It wasn't Anakin's complete fall of the dark side, having the nightmares about Padme, etc. But that was where we start to see some of his personality change. So to me, if I could pick one figure, it would be Shmi Skywalker that they haven't made.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I thought of a couple too. I didn't say this because they're already kind of going down this route for Black Series. The Ewok tribe it's got Tebow already. I love that figure. And then they have Paploo, which came with the it was the Hasbro Con exclusive Endor set, Heroes of Endor set. I actually just bought. Somebody was selling Paploo individually for it was not cheap. It was not cheap, but I was willing to pay that price, and I got it. I got Paploo because the fact that they're releasing the Ewoks, I love the Ewoks. I had to have Paploo, and I know that they're going to be releasing a Wicket at some point in the rest of the tribe. So I would say my number one pick still Bib Fortuna, but I'd love to see Wicket wrapped up a couple of the other Ewoks that they have, here. And then well, we're going to definitely need a Chief Chirpa. I believe is this Chief Chirpa or is this is Logray? This is Logray. Yeah, so Logray, that would be a great one. And then we need to, at some point, this really should have been my number one pick. We need, say what you will about The Rise of Skywalker, we need a deluxe Palpatine. in that velvet robe in Rise of Skywalker with the Sith throne.
And I thought for the Lego one too.
They need to make a deluxe of that. Even if you hated Rise of Skywalker, you can't tell me that wouldn't look so badass with the rest of your collection.
And he's the main character. It's kind of like, why don't they have his lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge? No offense to Count Dooku, no offense to these Jedi Temple guards, but it seems like we're missing some main.
Did they have? I could have sworn they had a Palpatine lightsaber.
They don't.
It's just the Black Series.
Just the Black Series
line.
Whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So that's another thing that Lego and Black Series, we don't have one. And then I also would love to have a Lego and Black Series. I know it was only for 5 minutes, but a light side Ben Solo, like his redemption.
Yeah, they're gonna make a Black Series. Think of that.
In the Lego set's probably gonna be.
They're gonna have to. They're totally gonna do that. Yeah. It's only a matter of time. I think if Rise of Skywalker would have been a complete success, they would have released this stuff already. They would have at least announced it. But because there's been so much backlash and controversy over it, they've been very hesitant releasing some of the products. Like, they just announced more pops for Rise of Skywalker, like Rey with her yellow lightsaber. I'm talking about Funko Pops, of course, in case you don't know where my reference is. They're coming out with Ben Solo. There's a few others. So I think maybe like as time goes on, kind of that whole principle of it grows as time goes on, like the popularity of the film, they'll start to release more of it. So I'm hopeful we'll see those.
Yeah, again, the big holes I'm missing for Black Series and Lego. Here's another one. I want a Lego version of the armor and heavy infantry. Yeah, I have the unopened Mandalorian set over there. I showed it to you. There's nothing special about those Mandalorians. They're pretty generic.
I don't think the heavy infantry's in there though.
No, they're just generic Mandalorians.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe they'll show up at some point, but they're really just.
They're gonna show up with a heavy infantry. I can almost guarantee you they're gonna show up with a heavy infantry Mandalorian.
In Lego.
Lego.
Most likely. I'm surprised at us not getting the armor. You know, I imagine she's gonna come back, but someone did say, "What if she doesn't come back?" I mean, I'd be pretty disappointed. You know,
the armor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's custom figures of her out there. There's a Black Series for her.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's new. She was one of the new waves. I actually just got her.
Okay, I thought I wrote. Okay.
So.
Oh, and Moff Gideon. Yeah, Moff Gideon.
Well, Moff Gideon's gonna be dropping. I'm sure both for Lego and Black Series. Actually, I'm almost gonna guarantee you, if you guys don't follow Yakface or Kylo Collector, they've already, like the box art on the side of the Black Series boxes, they already show snippets of Greef Karga and Moff Gideon. And I'm glad that somebody said that, because I didn't announce it earlier in this episode, but when it's official, I'm going to. They teased, and I about did backflips. Figs and Bricks knows this too. I about did backflips when I saw them tease the Moff Gideon hot toy and the Tusken Raider hot toy. They are going to sell the crap out of those, and my wallet is already crying. So
I have one Hot Toys in my collection. That's Episode 7 Han Solo.
yeah,
I got it especially because I felt bad for his death. I was like, oh, I gotta get this because they killed him off and it's gonna go up in value. And sure enough, it did. But you know, Hot Toys and Sideshow look spectacular. If you don't have some and you have the budget, go and get them. You know, I got a wedding to help pay for, so
that time has passed me. That's why I waited until after the wedding. And when COVID hit, that's when I started my Hot Toys dive.
So yeah, I'm reduced to selling Lego, but
afterward, we're gonna have to slowly transition you.
Nah, we'll see about that. Because afterwards, a house. So, but at the very minimum, I have Legos, but some can be expensive. Let's see. Mine both is hot. Okay, what hot toys would you like to see? So that's another question. What hot toys?
Well, we need to get the armor, I think. We will get the armor at some point. We'll get Cara Dune. I'm trying to state some of the less obvious ones. You know, like I'm trying to think of unique ones because we all know it's only a matter of time.
Mace Windu? I don't think we have Mace Windu.
There, I think, is a third-party Mace Windu figure. General Grievous still hasn't been made in the Hot Toys version, so they'll probably have to make him. They're gonna make a Mace Windu. Like they're holding this stuff so that they can continue to draw the line, you know, out for years to come.
I'm surprised by their turnover time because I remember when I first found out about Hot Toys, it takes like 2 years from the.
It does. Like Ahsoka doesn't come out until
so
2022.
I know you sit there and you sculpt it, but with all the being able to edit and computer CAD modeling and everything, like I would think that okay, they're pieces of plastic. I know they're cloth, but what is they don't make nearly as many of them.
I don't know.
Long?
That's the one frustration is when Hot Toys drops a figure, most of the time, unless it's a re-release or a repaint, you're gonna have to wait 2 years to get. That's why I don't even bother pre-ordering them, because the wait time's so long. Like so much changes in that time span. I would say, I mean, this is what just kind of comes off the top of my head is just a thought, maybe of one that might not be like on a top priority that people might find cool is maybe like a Gamorrean guard or something like that. I think
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, well, they have. I think Sideshow has like a full-size statue, which is pretty cool.
Oh, Jabba.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do much as far as like a six scale figure for him. Probably more because he just sits there.
He's a slug. He literally is a statue.
He just sits
pretty
there.
much.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there's much you could do with the figure, but I think I think a Gamorrean garb would be cool at some point. Maybe, I'm sure they've thought of it. I don't know if they're gonna release it. Or maybe like a Plo Koon, or somebody that's, doesn't play like a huge lead role, but people have always found kind of cool. So if they can re-release Boba Fett 6 times, they should be thinking about other freaking figures to release for 6 scale.
Yeah. So we got one more question here.
Okay.
Okay, Christian, what's your favorite Lego set ever made? So it will actually be one quite recently. I actually haven't even built it yet. And it's not so much that the set is cool, but it's what it means to me. So growing up, I remember watching the original trilogy. My dad would sit down and watch it on TV, and that was my introduction to Star Wars. I didn't watch the prequels until much later. For me, and to this day, my favorite scene in all of Star Wars is the climactic confrontation between Luke, Vader, and Palpatine in the throne room.
Yeah, that's great.
So there's a new Lego set that came out with the Emperor throne room.
Did they?
Yeah. So I bought it. It's between $90 and $100 wherever you buy it from. Nothing too crazy or fancy about it. They have a new arm printed Vader that's pretty nice. But for me, does it have all the bells and whistles of some other sets? No, but for me, the thing that I enjoy about it is it reminds me of my childhood. That was my favorite scene. To this day, it's my favorite scene. Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie. But the fact is that I can, that final confrontation is captured in Luke resisting, the temptation of the dark side. That whole essence is captured in that set. For me, that's why it's cool. My second favorite is another one I haven't built yet, and that would be the Rise of Skywalker Millennium Falcon. The Rise of Skywalker Millennium Falcon is very similar to the original trilogy Millennium Falcon in terms of look compared to the Force Awakens ones, like with the Satellite Edition stuff. The reason being is growing up, I never had a Millennium Falcon. So now I went and I bought one, and I said, I have a Millennium Falcon. I don't have much in my collection. Most of it I sell, but those two sets are the ones that are my favorite for those reasons.
What? So wait, hold on a sec. So are you waiting for your house to display your collection?
Well, no, they're in a box right now. I haven't had time to build them.
Gotcha.
I have minifigures in storage cases and stuff, but it's about room, and I haven't had time to build them. I bought them and then been busy with work and grad school. And
so when you get your house, or you have time, or you gonna do it? You're gonna put it all up?
That is going to be up to the missus. So we'll have to figure that out. But I already said, hey, I'm gonna get a clear coffee table. It's like a display case. I'm gonna set up the canteen because I have the cantina too in there. I haven't built yet. I have a bunch I haven't built yet. Just haven't had the time. But maybe integrate them with like a table or something like that.
Would she support your collection?
To a certain degree. I mean, I have limitations. Like, I'm all about balancing my budget. If I'm spending a bunch of money on something else has to go. Yep. I've always been, trading stuff off. I had a virtual reality treadmill, something you'd see at a Ready Player One. Sold it a few weeks ago. So, it's all about that balance. Ultimately, something that we have talked about is we do want to have a movie theater in our eventual house. Maybe I can convince and do some leveraging to get it Star Wars themed, but that's kind of where we're at on that. So I think that concludes the questions. I don't see any other questions. So you gave them homework last week. You got any homework for them this week?
Think about it. What do you think? Do you think the child is the offspring of Yoda and Yaddle? Or
even related
in any way, or do you think he's just the same species but an entirely different character? I'll wait to give you guys my answer until next week, but
why don't you just get disproved or validated in between next week and then
who knows? If they do that, that's just gonna suck. We'll just talk more Black Series and Legos. That would be perfectly fine with me. But all right. Well, thank you guys for joining tonight. One more thing. I knew I was forgetting something.
The contest?
The contest. if you guys saw my post on our Instagram page, we are nowhere near where we need to be on our YouTube at all. We're at before this live stream, 31 subscribers. That's not a lot. Now, granted, we just started, but it's not a lot. So it's up to you guys to help us get our name out there. So for anybody that missed my post, we're doing a giveaway. 2 lucky winners will get a chance to win a Baby Yoda plush, or the child plush. We're going to do it as soon as, we're going to reveal 2 winners as soon as, 1, our Instagram gets to 100 followers, and number 2, our YouTube gets to 100 subscribers, okay? We need people tuning in. We love giving you guys this content, but we can't do it without more of an audience and more of your support. So spread the word. We love you guys. We will see you next week.
See you next week.